Hi, welcome to Road to Vostok feature highlight number 2. In this series we are going to take a look at some of the early access features that are worth mentioning about. In the last one I covered the UI overhaul, and in this one we're going to take a look at the shelter customization, which is one of the most exciting features for the early access, at least in my opinion. But let's start with going back to the demo and let's see what were the main limitations for shelters there. Okay, so this was the demo shelter called Attic. I'm going to borrow one of the demo player's attic builds, so there's all kinds of items already placed here. The cool thing about the demo was that there was this item placement feature, meaning you can actually manipulate and place items wherever you want. For example, if I want to change the place of this, I can do that. But the main limitation was that none of these larger objects, meaning sofas, chairs and all the props, were totally static. And that limitation basically, in my opinion, takes away the feeling that you can truly customize the shelter, make it truly yours. And this was something that I wanted to change for the commercial branch, meaning early access. So let's take a look at what has changed and what's new in terms of shelter customization. You're now inside one of the new shelters called Cabin, which is going to be the starting shelter for early access. The item placement feature here is just like within the demo, so you can manipulate the items that you loot however you want. Some of the new things that I want to mention is that now there's these light switches, so you can manipulate the lighting. For example, if I want this more moodier approach in the shelter, I can totally do that. There's multiple light switches for each room. I think one of these is over here, but let's leave all the lights on for these demonstrations. So when it comes to actually manipulating the furniture, currently I'm in the default mode, meaning there's the default interface when I press tab. But when I'm in the shelter and I press F1, this key can be remapped if you want, I activate something called decor mode. The most obvious thing here is that now each furniture and object has this indicator, which means that they can be now manipulated if you want. Let's for example take this stool and grab it over here. This works just like with the item placement, so if you're familiar with that system, you should be also pretty comfortable with this one. I can adjust the distance, I can change the rotation, and there's this invalid and valid shader effect and grid snapping, which highlights when the item can be placed to some surfaces or not. Let's for example take this nightstand over here and maybe place it over here. And this grid snapping is quite convenient. For example, if you don't want ugly gaps to leave there, it kind of keeps everything nicely together. Some of these furniture have some limitations. For example, this is a wall element, so it can be only placed to walls. Let's for example put this over here. Then for example carpets have some abilities. They can overlap other furniture, so I don't have to remove the upper furniture first, so it's quite convenient that way. Let's for example put this carpet over here. Let's maybe switch this to over here and maybe rotate this bed other way around. Like this. So that's the most basic way how you manipulate the furniture in the decor mode. Then let's talk about something called furniture catalog. Basically, when I was implementing this system, I quickly found out that whenever you're making these large adjustments, meaning moving large furniture around, you may end up in a situation that your shelter becomes pretty crowded pretty quickly and it's hard to kind of like manipulate anymore. So I wanted to implement this temporary storage, which basically is available through the decor mode. In the default mode, when I press tab, there's the default interface, but in the decor mode, there's this furniture catalog. And it works by, I can just grab stuff from the surfaces. Let's, for example, grab all these. And now when I open the catalog, all the furniture is over here. This works with the Tetris interface, so I can move and rotate stuff however I want. And whenever I want to redecorate, it's quite convenient just to place stuff from the catalog. Let's for example put the sofa here, maybe few wall shelves over here. And then maybe fridge over here. And carpet over there. let's maybe grab the bed over here and let's make our kitchen now a bedroom. And that's the furniture catalog. Pretty convenient way to redecorate your shelter. Then let's talk about a feature called item groups. Let's start by placing some items to the shelf. Lantern maybe over here. IFAX over here. Now, when the items are located inside or on top of the furniture, they will basically get grouped with the furniture. This allows me to grab the furniture, and with the decor mode, all the items will follow the furniture position. Let's maybe place the shelf over here. Grab the shelf once again. Place over here, and the items will follow. And this will work with all kinds of surfaces. For example, let's use the table. Or let's use something like wall elements. So that was item grouping. Really handy feature if you want to decorate while having bunch of items already stored. Those were the basic mechanics when it comes to furniture manipulation. But you might be wondering how you can acquire more or different furniture to the shelters. There's basically multiple ways to this. Each shelter will have a default set of furniture. For example, I track all the default furniture over this outside test environment. This default furniture can be transferred between multiple shelters by using that catalog system that I showcased. But if you want to acquire new furniture to customize your shelter, you can for example use shelter crafts or furniture crafting recipes. Let's for example craft some new beds. Let's take some materials over here. A few pillows. Sleeping pads, blankets, sleeping bag. In the crafting menu, there's now this furniture section. This section has a shelter proximity requirement, meaning you can only craft these within the shelter. Let's make the military bed. Start by inputting sleeping pad, sleeping bag, and craft. Now when this craft is completed, you can see the crafted recipe output on the catalog. I can place the bed. Let's do some other one, maybe single bed, lumber blanket, mattress roll, pillow, craft. I think there's going to be close to over 20 at least different furniture recipes in the early access, so bunch of options to craft different stuff. Our bed was finished. Let's place it over here. And that's one way of acquiring and getting new furniture by crafting. Then another way of getting new furniture is through bartering system, meaning trading. So traders will now also have supplies that can also contain different furniture that you can acquire. For this video I made a quick placeholder loot table to the generalist, so let's see if there's something new furniture related. And there was actually, what a weird loot table, but nevertheless there was something new. For example, there's now painting related furniture. There was one Raya, one nightstand, one fridge. Not that realistic in terms of trading, but for this video I think this is good enough. So traders are one of those sources where you can get new furniture. And I'm planning to, for example, now there's that new trader called Grandma. So different traders will hopefully have some kind of logic to the furniture. For example, the Grandma should have carpets, all kinds of fabric related stuff, and so on. One thing that I forgot to mention is that based on the demo feedback, many players gave feedback that the demo attic, meaning the demo shelter, didn't have enough containers to store loot. So the container system is fully connected to this furniture, so I can place stuff here, it will remain there. I can place stuff over here. So you can now have pretty much hundreds of containers within your shelter. So I think we can consider this feedback topic pretty much resolved. One thing that I also want to highlight is this development tool called Furniture Component. In this video I only showcased few different furniture, but with this tool I can basically convert all the in-game static props to actual dynamic furniture that can be connected to the system. This component works like this. I drag the component to any 3D model and I press convert. This component automatically generates all the necessary colliders, detection and logic to the 3D model, so now it can behave as a dynamic furniture. Let's do the same thing for this model. So I drag the component, but let's make this a wall element instead, and I press convert. Now the component automatically changed the logic and aligned all the target points to walls instead. I tried to design this component to be really easy to use, so eventually, when I will provide proper modding tools for this game, this component allows you to turn your or external 3D models to dynamic furniture with just a single press of a button. Then the final element that I want to mention before we wrap up this video is that the multi-shelter support is now added to the game. This means that you can utilize now multiple shelters with the same playthrough. This for example is one of the early access shelters called Tent, and the idea with this multi-shelter support is that you can now have maybe one main shelter and then a few bug-out shelters along the game world that you can utilize when needed. The shelter customization system is available in all of these, so you can really get creative how you want to approach your playthrough and what kind of furniture you want to use in each shelter. Thank you for checking out this latest feature highlight. I think this shelter customization combined with that multi-shelter support is one of the most exciting features for the early access. This system hopefully provides bunch of replayability and ways to get creative, and I'm really interested to see what kind of shelters you will build with this system. I have actually a few quick announcements before I end this video. First thing is that the limited edition support patch event will end this month. This means that the patch will be removed from the stores at the end of this month and it will never be sold again. So if you want to support the development and get yourself this limited edition patch, this is the last month for that. The second announcement is that there's now an official Road to Vostok Discord server available. This server was created on top of the existing community server, so there's already a bunch of members and interesting discussions around the game. So if you want to keep up with the latest updates, new available mods and have conversations around the game, you can now join this official Road to Vostok server. Links for both the support patch and Discord server are in the video description. Thank you for watching and let me know in the comments what did you think about this shelter customization. See you in the next video.